Thank you so much for recognizing me, and thank you so much for calling this very important hearing. When Robert F. Kennedy met anti-apartheid activists in South Africa in 1966, he famously said, "It is from numberless, diverse acts of courage and belief that human history is shaped. Each time a man stands up for an ideal or acts to improve the lot of others or strikes out against injustice, he sends forth a tiny ripple of hope, and crossing each other from a million different centers of energy and daring, those ripples build a current that can sweep down the mightiest walls of oppression and resistance." Inspired by those empowering words, I look forward to working with Senator Flake and the other members of this committee to add our own ripples of hope to the currents of change moving across Africa today. In this subcommittee, I think we have several opportunities to have our actions ripple across countries an ocean away. One, building a clean, affordable energy backbone in Africa. Power Africa is a critical part of improving the lives of millions of people in Africa and supporting economic development across the continent. Power Africa is starting strong as a presidential initiative, and I am hopeful that this body can come up with a path forward to pass Energize Africa legislation and enshrine in U.S. law the importance of focusing on increasing access to electricity in Africa. I know Senator Coons has given great leadership on that issue, and I'm looking forward to working with him and Senator Flake and other members of the committee. Two, public health improvements. We need to focus on improving health sector capacity across the continent so that the incredible gains of PEPFAR and other initiatives can continue, so that we can understand how to prevent the disastrous spread of diseases as basic as malaria and gripping as Ebola. Three, target poachers and their operations to protect wildlife. In recent years, poaching has taken a devastating toll on some of Africa's most iconic and imperiled wildlife. There is increasing evidence that some poaching is also helping to finance conflicts. It is critical that we do all that we can to prevent wildlife trafficking, including by targeting those who finance it. Four, work with African countries to provide for their own security and prevent the spread of nuclear bomb material. The summit highlighted new programs that seek to build Africa's peacekeeping response capacity, strengthen its institutions, focus on security, improve early warning systems for conflict. These are critical. And finally, thanks to the work of the Center for Public Integrity and the Washington Post, we now have reason to be concerned about South Africa's stockpile of almost 500 pounds of highly enriched uranium, combined with concerns about Africa as a transit point for enriched uranium. South Africa's vulnerable stockpile is something that merits real attention. Five, help prepare Africa for climate change. The Africa Summit reiterated the Obama administration's support for increasing resilience among communities in all of the southern part of Africa that are already vulnerable to extreme weather. Climate change isn't just supercharging blizzards in Boston, it's impacting floods in Malawi and forest fires in South Africa, and even worsening droughts like those in Somalia. All of these issues must be discussed because they represent some of the central issues facing Africa today, where partnership with the American government and companies can drive progress. Africa is a continent rich in economic and social potential. We must prioritize investment in Africa's future, or our influence will wane in the wake of large commitments from Europe and China. And we must also ask, how can we address the essential challenges that inhibit Africa's nation's growth? Because when people cannot access enough electricity to power homes, how can we expect their full participation in the local economy? When families cannot keep their children healthy because a constant battle with disease is occurring, how can parents put them in school or go to work? When natural disasters prevent the building of resilient communities, how can countries build resilient economies? Today, I hope to learn from our witnesses how the policy initiatives under the summit are proceeding. I think it is essential to know how this body can be helpful in paving the way for increased U.S. investment in Africa in a variety of arenas. I thank you, Mr. Chairman, for calling this very important hearing.